We are live. We are live. Welcome everyone to Wisdom Wednesday live series. I am Liz Gabor. I've dedicated my life to empowering women to live out their purpose and manifest their biggest desires using success strategies and self-mastery at every age. And so I created this series really to host a platform for women to share their stories, their wisdom, how they've navigated their lives, share the work they do in the world, and more. It's a way for me to spotlight each of the members in our Facebook group, which is Ageless Goddess Vibe Tribe. So if you identify as female, come on over and join our tribe. We would love to have you. It's a wonderful community. And I was getting asked from people, how do we get to learn more about one another? I want to get to know people more, just kind of find out what they're all about. So I decided I wanted to create this platform and have a whole library of women's stories, and so we could all get to know each other. And then I pass on the link to my guests so that they can do with it what they wish, share it with their communities, their families, their friends, and so on and so forth. And so, as my guest knows, but I do feel deeply called to shift women's perceptions of themselves as we grow older, in addition to shifting the cultural beliefs around aging. And I feel that our world and our country now, more than ever, needs the full expression of women's wisdom, voices, creativity, radiant power, and intelligence. So this week's Wednesday Wisdom, I am very grateful and honored to welcome Miss Vanessa Anderson as our fabulous guest. And I'll tell you a little bit about her before she introduces herself. So dance and music have always been an immense part of Vanessa's life. Growing up in Brazil, she studied dance in many various forms with a strong emphasis in classical ballet. Being taught and evaluated by teachers and dance instructors from around the world gave her the opportunity to see dance as a way of life, which I love and I want to hear more about, providing her with a rich and versatile background. She's been working and refining her dance skills with and through academic credits, classes, workshops, and performances. Through this process, she became a fitness instructor and a personal trainer. She learned how to help people to use all their potential to specifically create an active, strong, and healthy lifestyle. She's thrilled to see the lives being transformed and fitness goals being achieved as a result of her vision and commitment. In her classes, students look forward to a high energy, fun and supportive, non-judgmental environment. Experienced athletes, beginners, fitness enthusiasts, all will find a class that they will truly enjoy and always look forward to coming back to. So welcome, Vanessa. Thank you for being on the show. I want to give you an opportunity to speak for a few minutes about your story, what makes you you, whatever you'd like to share about your background, about your work. And I would also I definitely want to unpack a little bit, just that part of your bio that says, because I love it so much, and if for everybody to just kind of embody that statement of seeing dance as a way of life. If you could include something on that, I would really love that. So the stage is yours, please.
Oh, thank you so much, Liz, for inviting me for your group. Like, I've belonged to your group for, I think almost a year when we had the virtual retreat, right? And I connected with all the wonderful women here. And it was so empowering. I remember I took that day off from work just to be in that event. And I just felt amazing afterwards. And you want me to talk about a little bit of my story, right? How I got to do what I do now.
Yeah. For those who don't know you, just about me. I mean, I would love to hear a little bit about growing. If you're growing up in Brazil, what that was like, and coming here, what that was like, and the work that you do, of course.
Well, sure. So, I was born and raised in Brazil, in the state of São Paulo, which is towards the south. And I've had a very, very happy childhood. My parents, though, came from poverty. So they wanted to offer me everything that they didn't have when they were growing up. My dad he was very decided that he wanted to change his life. So he ended up going into law school. He was like he was the first person in his family that actually got college education.
Wow.
So, and then from there, he just stepped the ladders. And we had a pretty comfortable life when I was growing up. My dad had a property in a country, so we would go and spend our vacations, holidays, weekends there. So I grew up in between both worlds, kind of like what people do where I live now. I live in Kent, Connecticut, and there's a lot of New Yorkers. They come here and they have their summer houses and vacation places. And I've always been very connected to my body since I was very, very young. The most amazing thing that I could do for myself. That's how I soothed myself when I was a little child. And then when I became a teenager, I would spend hours dancing at the studio, because obviously they enrolled me in ballet and all sorts of things because that's what I like to do. So I would spend hours of the day dancing, and that would help me. I remember so vividly, sometimes I was studying and I would get stuck, like you can't move on, you don't understand what's going on. And I would just get up, dance for a little bit, practice some of my choreographies, and then everything would make sense to me afterwards. And I was very aware of this. And then obviously, as the years go by, people start asking you, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And I didn't know. I'm like, I can't say to my parents that I want to be a professional dancer because of their backgrounds and because they're so worried about me being so different than they were, And also in Brazil, it's much harder to survive out of arts and entertainment and everything like that. So it got to the point that I flat out said, I don't know, because what I want to do, you guys won't let me do it. So it's like, yeah, you're right. That's it. So I applied for vet school, and I also applied for law school because, growing up in a country, I loved animals. But I ended up talking to a vet, and the question that he asked me was like, what is your relationship with animals? Do you like them? Do you like to play with them? Or could you see them open right in front of you and save their lives? And I'm like, I don't think I could do that. So that was the end of the vet school idea. Then I moved on to the law. And the reason why I went to law is because my dad said to me, listen, even if you don't want to be a lawyer, you would have all these tools to have your own business. But you need to have this education before you go pursue your dreams as whatever you want to be. So I did. And, and not that I disliked it. I liked it. I like to learn. I like to know more about the history of my country and then, politics and economics and everything. But then when it got to the real things, going to work for a law office as an intern and seeing how people were living their lives, completely disconnected from their bodies, not putting self-care back in the 90s, that was late 90s. That was not even a thing. It was a beautiful thing to say that you killed yourself working all week and you pull out all-nighters and and I started living that life because that's what it was. And I hate it. I'm like, no, I've never dreamed of this. This is not what I want. And I'm going to get my diploma and I'm out of here.
Wow.
But meanwhile, I made connections. I met so many people. I actually, I managed to be the lawyer of a renowned theater company, because I figure if I am close to artists, maybe this will ease up this tension, this stress that I feel all the time. Ended up being worse, because then I had to actually solve their problems and they didn't have money to pay. But anyway, it was good because then it opened up my mind to figure it out what I was going to do. So that's how I ended up coming to the United States, because everything that I looked at required me to be more broader, like searching for more solutions outside of the box. And for that, I needed to, I used to listen, are you hearing me? Because I'm frozen here. I don't know if you
Yeah,
can
I
still. Oh,
do. Oh, you're better. Okay. I heard you.
okay.
I couldn't, but your face was frozen. But that happens. Don't worry about it. It's okay.
Yeah. So then they I said, well, to be like to think outside of the box, I need to get more education, and for that I need to speak a second language so I know what's going on in the world.
Mm.
So I said, well, maybe I can go to uh, England or US so I can get my English really good, because I've always studied English.
Mm-hmm.
And then I ended up coming here for 1 year. I was in this what is they call? Intercultural exchange program. That's how
Oh,
they call it.
okay. Okay.
So I came to live with an American family, and I was working for them. It's just a way of like, make sure that you get paid. So I
Yeah.
was working as a nanny for their kids, and I could
Where
live in
was
their
that?
house. And
Where was that one? So what state?
Maine,
Maine. Oh, nice. Nice. Okay.
right outside of Portland. On the island. So it was like, that's why I picked. I'm like, if I want to really change my life, I need to like start with a big shock. So I
Mm.
went from a big city in Brazil, one of like the financial center in Brazil, all the way to an island in Maine.
Ooh, love
You
it.
could walk the entire island in 2 hours.
Wow. That's
That
a
was a huge shock, but it was very good.
yeah.
And so there I lived with the family. I actually went to school. So then I started to connect with people from dance and theater and art galleries. Maine has a wonderful college of arts called Maine College of Arts.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up taking some courses there, which broadened my horizon.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, wow, look at these people living here. And if you ask them, they always have like a job going on that is not necessarily what they love, but they are able to do what they love and have a job that can support their dreams, but
Mm-hmm.
they don't necessarily need to kill themselves for that job, which to me it was a completely new concept.
Yeah.
And I admired that very much. And I said, I'm going to start doing the same thing. And sure, I did. I started working in restaurants. From there, I moved to Massachusetts, where I
Mm.
had some friends.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up being a waitress. I was a store management manager assistant in the at the mall, just so I could get my money until I was building up what I really wanted to do
Mm.
in the future. And that worked really, really well. And I never felt drained because I was feeding into my dreams. So while I was working in these jobs, I was always um, taking classes,
Mm-hmm.
modern dance, choreography and performance, acting.
Mm.
And that brought me to the circle of people that truly helped me to find my own passion.
Mm-hmm.
So with all of this, I went to a gym just to, get fit for everything that I was doing. And when I got there and they saw me going to classes, and they're like, wow, you really know what you're doing. Are you an instructor? I'm like, no, you know, I know how to dance, and people love using dance as a way of like cardio and, get the brain sharp and everything. And they said, well, if you ever want to come work with us, this is what you need to do. And we would love to have you.
Mm.
So I started to put some thought into that, and then life happened. So in between all these things, I met my ex-husband. I moved to Connecticut. We had our daughter. We got married. So life was happening while these ideas were coming to me. And finally, when my daughter was 2.5 years old, I went back to Brazil to visit my family, and I decided to get a Zumba certification there. I'm like, if
Oh,
that's something that I could do, people are telling me all the time, you would be good at it.
yeah.
Let me just start for something that I really like, which makes dance and my Latin background and everything. And sure
Absolutely.
enough, so when I came back, I told the people from the gym that I was going to. I'm like, oh, I'm certified now and I can teach. And they're like, when can you start? So I started there. And then 6 months after that, I was teaching in 5 different places.
Wow.
At some point, I was teaching 21 classes a week, which is like a full-time job for an instructor, as you know, because you are a yoga instructor.
Wow.
And I was having like a good enough paycheck, but it's hard on the body.
That's a lot of hours,
right?
of Zumba.
So I've
Yeah.
started to think this is going to be great, but this is just too hard on my body. What else can I do? And then from there, I went to do administrative work for this gym. So I worked as a group activity manager. I worked as a membership advisor.
Mm.
And that just gave me more and more information until the whole picture was just painted right in front of me. I'm like, that's it. I'm going to have my own business and I'm going to do what I love, because now I have the experience. I
Yeah.
have the following. I have the knowledge, and I just need to act on it.
I love it. I love it so much. That's such a great, interesting story of all the different and your trajectory, and just being your education. First of all, the law education could not hurt. I mean, it can't hurt. It just is something that gave you more education, and then just that whole taking Zumba classes from a Brazilian is pretty cool. Well, the Zumba teacher at my gym was like Japanese. So great, but I love that and Zumba was very popular at the time. And then I think from working at a gym, if it was a bigger gym, you probably learned a lot about what you don't want to do and what you do want to do in your own business, right? And you take what you want from it, and you leave the parts that don't fit with what the model that you want to have. So tell us about what you do in your studio now. And your studio is in Kent, Connecticut, right?
Yeah, it's in Kent, Connecticut. It was this studio actually was the first job ever that I got as a fitness instructor, because I had just moved to Kent and the previous owner had just opened the business and she was desperately looking for a Zumba instructor. So I came and auditioned and I started teaching. And then like within, very short while, I was teaching a lot of classes here. And I always said to her, I said, if you ever think about not doing this anymore, please give me a chance. Talk to me and we can just figure something out.
Nice.
But it was a completely different concept. It was more like a spin boot camp type of fitness. And I brought all the mind-body connection exercises to the community. So now I have bar, which I'm most known of being like the best bar studio in the area. And then I have Pilates, which the Pilates story is also very compelling. I don't know if we're going to have time. I can just give a hint here and there to you guys. Yes. And then yoga. And I became a Reiki master throughout the years, because I noticed that people needed they needed to be connected with their bodies. And it started with the electromagnetic field and energy work. And I have a massage therapist that come here too and does massages. And I also teach fit dance and Zumba and the fun stuff. And what people say when they come to my class, especially the dance ones, they say, well, the energy that we find in our class, we don't find anywhere else. And I'm like, well, because my life is in here. It's not just my skills. My whole life is into these classes.
That's beautiful. And they feel that for sure. That's a lot of certifications though, to get bar, Pilates. I mean, that's a lot.
And I'm also a personal trainer. So I just wanted to get as much education as I could to be able to run a successful business. And because this has been part of my life for so long, it wasn't really hard to go into all this, trainings and then get through certifications. It comes very natural to me.
Yes.
So it may seem like a lot, but if you're doing this since you're very little, it's not a lot of effort.
Right. And once you know how the body works, and there are slight variations of what you focus on. Yeah, I get that. But still, it's still a lot. And it's awesome. And I love, like, it's so interesting when you talk about the law firm that, it's like so many people still are living just like from here up, they're just not, they don't even feel their feet on the floor, and
Oh
it's
my goodness. It's so sad. It's ultimately sad. And I actually do lives on my Facebook page right after I finish my workouts, because that's when you are so full of energy and life, and you just released all those amazing hormones in your body, and you feel that you can conquer the world. And I
mm,
say, I really wish I could share this with you physically, but unfortunately I can't. I
mm,
can guide you to get there, but
mm,
I can't. But that's
okay.
the feeling that I would like everybody else to feel, because we would live in a such better world, right? Don't you agree?
Absolutely, completely agree. Yes, yes, yes. If people feel really alive, and in their bodies, yeah, I think the world would be very different. I say that a lot about the yoga that I teach. I'm like, if world leaders got together and did Kundalini yoga, like before they got together, there would be no wars. Everybody would be at peace and love. And so, yeah, I totally agree with that. It's just like, it's a vibrancy of life. And the living life is a dance. I mean, I watch the trees dance all the time, and I try to move with the trees, with the wind, because they're dancing all the time. So
Yeah.
I love that concept so much, of like living your life as a dance. And you actually really do. It's what a beautiful example of that for your daughter. Also,
Uh-huh.
like, to inhabit her body, no, to like protect her body and move it like gracefully, and
And if you think about, Liz, people say to me when I say to them, "Oh, come take my class. It's so much fun." They're like, "Oh, no, I'm not coordinated." Well, first of all, coordination doesn't it's not something you were born with. You learn coordination. And you learn coordination learning about your own rhythms. So you feel your body and you know how to listen to the beat of the song. It's very like it's a vibrational thing that
Mhm,
people just needs to tune into it. And
mhm,
I know for some people that never experienced this before, it might be really hard, but it's something that everyone can do. If you just take this blockage away and say, no, it's not about coordination, it's about really feeling my body.
mhm,
And that's why I say, like, dance, to live a life based on dance is to feel the rhythms of everything, not first with my body, then you move to the four seasons, and then you move to the weather. Everything has a rhythm, and if you
mhm,
connect with it, you will have a life that makes much more sense, and it gives you clarity too. Like, it opens up your mind, and you start seeing parts of you out there, because we're made from what is out there, so you start seeing yourself out there. It's a magical process.
I so agree. You start to feel like you're part of it all, because we are part of it all. And yeah, and there's a natural rhythm. We're breathing in and out, and our heart is beating. That's a rhythm. There's a rhythm to everything. And I think when people worry about how they look when they're dancing, and it's like,
Mm.
it's so not about that, right? It's just about movement, and like, kind of, yeah, inhabiting your body, and letting it move the way it wants to move and feel good.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
I mean, I don't know if you have mirrors, like if there's a mirror. I'm sure for some classes there's mirrors, but I love the idea of no mirrors, like just having people not
Hmm.
be able to look at themselves, and just move freely, but and with guidance, with somebody helping them, as like you. Um,
Yeah,
but
it helps too when you are when you are confident, when you are just confident on in your own skin, and people see this.
mhm,
Um, like, I'm the kind of fitness professional, I don't like to use before and after photos unless if the person has a specific goal of weight loss.
mhm,
Um, I don't think this is really what is going to keep the person living this kind of lifestyle. It's not an before and after photo. It's much more what you make them feel.
mhm.
When you ask me on the end, we're going to talk about like my favorite quote. I'm just going to throw it out there right now, is what
Yeah,
Maya Angelou said.
mhm,
People will forget what you said, and will forget what you um there's something else, but they will never forget how you make them feel. And that is what I want to portray to my clients, because if they get that, they would never stop doing this anymore because
Mhm.
they always wanted to get to that level again. Oh, I want that feeling good thing. What do I do? Oh, I need to go and move my body, right? In a way that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I love it. It's very true. And I think that that's the way you show up in your life. I think that I've noticed in all ways, it's like, how do you show up in your life? Even when you're not teaching, it's like you bring the energy that you want to make people feel good, right? And heard and seen and all of it. So you bring it, I think, to other places too. So it's a gift. It is a gift to make people feel good because of you being there.
Mhm.
And how they make them feel seen, valued, heard, secure in their own body and their own movement and all that. It's wonderful. So we talked about definitely some of the pivotal moments and points where you made some really awesome decisions for yourself, and I think that's really bold, and that's really something for everybody to to feel that they also have the capacity to do that, that we can change our lives at any time, that we feel that we're just kind of need to need to make a shift in our lives, that there's always an opportunity for that. So thank you for sharing that your story is like a series of defining moments where you chose you, and you chose to like fill up your own self with the things that you love. So it's beautiful, and I think a lot of people will resonate with that and learn from that, and maybe give themselves the permission to do the same if they're feeling like they need to make a shift or a change. So thank you. So I'm just going to ask you about I don't even know how old you are. It doesn't matter. But I think that the way that our culture here in America, and I'm not sure about in Brazil, but the way that, everything is targeted towards the youth obsessed culture, the clothes, the everything, women of a certain age start to become more invisible, and everyone's wanting them to change this on their face and not wear this and that. And I find it very dangerous and toxic for women. And I'm just curious if you have any thoughts on that to share with us.
Oh, absolutely. I work here with um, people that are retired already, like they are older. They had successful careers in a city and they retire here in the town where I live. So I serve them. So I see this a lot.
Mm.
I see people trying to diminish themselves. And even when I ask them to go a little bit further to have breakthroughs, like, yes, you can do this. Yes. I feel that they hold back a little. But then all you need to assure them is that the body will respond every time you stimulate the body to do something. It doesn't matter how old you are.
Mm-hmm.
There's a choreographer that I admire very much, Twyla Tharp. She has books written
Mm.
about how she actually goes about her life. And she says the older you get age wise, that's when you have to really crank up. You really have to crank it up, go out there, listen to music loud, because that's how you keep the energy moving. She says that. She says that she wakes up and she feels that she's down. She puts like band music, band music,
Uh-huh,
like
uh-huh.
really loud, and she starts jumping around her apartment.
I love it. I love it. That's one of the things. That's one thing I want to hear her name, but that's one thing I do. Part of my morning routine is I put on one song every morning. I want whatever it is. I pick a song and I dance it, and I make sure that I do that as part of my morning routine before I start my day. And I think, I think as we grow older, especially as women, we need to, especially for your daughters, for girls, is to do outrageous things. To jump around.
Yes. And as you get older, this is what's going to carry you on, the vitality. And that's what I want my clients to feel when they come to my studio. Yes, you can jump. You don't have to jump high, but you can do little hops here and there.
Mhm.
Yes, you can bend your knees, unless if you have, like they have specific things,
Right.
and that's another story. But it's not because you're old. That is not an excuse. And if you keep infusing them this vitality, invigorating them and showing them that it's possible to feel that it's about what they feel inside, not what they look on the outside. And guess what? When you feel this inside, it reverberates to every single part of your body. And you have that smile that nobody's caring about your little wrinkle here, your wrinkles on your forehead. Your smile is so contagious. We'll put this way, contagious, that nobody can get away from it.
Yeah.
So I think that's how women, we are all aging. Like I can talk about my daughter who's turning 13 about being an aging woman. She's aging, right?
We've
We're
been
all aging women.
since we were
But
born,
that's not
right? Since we were born, we've been aging.
exactly.
Yeah.
So why anti-aging? Like you can't stop that.
Mm.
I think it needs to come from inside. You need to look for things that are always bringing this vitality in you. If you dance and you remember, like they come here like, yes, remember those days and the disco parties, the disco ball. I was just gifted a disco ball
Oh,
from
really?
one of my clients.
I love it.
And she said to me, she gave it to me, and she's like, I think of you when I see a disco ball. I'm like, I'm so happy, because that means you see joy, you see music, you see fun, dancing.
Yeah.
I love it.
I love it. It's glitter, lights, I love it. That's a great gift. That's awesome. I hope you enjoy it. I think you will definitely enjoy it. That's great. I always say, like, a smile is like it's free. It's free as cosmetic surgery that you can have, just smile, and it changes their whole energy. So I love that. So let me just move on to, if you could give your 20-year-old self a piece of advice, if you could go back then and share the wisdom that you have today, what would you give her? What would you say to her?
The only thing that I would say to her is that, like, I would give her more tools than I had when I was 20 to ease up anxiety, and also to understand that feelings are something that come and go. You don't have to act on your feelings necessarily. You can wait until things start settling a little bit. I'm not talking about not feeling. Feel it, settle, and then decide what you're going to do with it. Because I was very anxious. I felt like I was running out of time. I felt like I was doing everything wrong. So tools to manage anxiety and not act on the feelings right away. But other than that, Liz, I have to say, I am pretty proud of my 20-year-old, because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be the woman that I am now,
Yeah.
And I'm very proud that she actually stood up for herself, said, no, this is not what I'm going to do. Let's change this. I'm sorry, you guys. I know this is what you dream about, but I have different dreams for me. And it was pretty hard. It's not easy. I came from a patriarchal society where you have to bow down to what father and your boyfriend or husband says. And I broke free from all of it.
It's amazing.
It's not easy.
How did your parents react? I mean, how did they respond?
My father cried. Cried.
Ugh.
Because he was afraid, and I understand. And I cried with him, and I said that I'm sorry, but I promise you that I won't, and I have tears in my eyes right now, I won't disappoint you. And sure enough, I was there in March, this past March, with my daughter, and it was total coincidence. March 13th was the date, 16 years ago. It was the date that he drove me to the airport, and we didn't know when we were going to see each other again, because I had to figure out my life. And I came down to have breakfast with him, and I said, what, do you know what day is today? And he's like, no. He said, well, it's been 16 years that you drove me to the airport, and here I am again. And then I gave him a poster that I did with all my awards that my studio has been winning throughout the years. And I said, here, I told you I was not going to disappoint you. Here you are. I am an independent woman. Not only I brought my success to you, I brought you a granddaughter. So it was an amazing moment.
I have chills. That's so awesome. That's beautiful. Oof. That's really, 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 really good. Love that. I'm like crying too here.
No, it is very emotional.
Amazing.
Thanks, Liz.
Amazing. I really I think that takes a lot of grit, a lot of just self-determination, and it's amazing. And that's a strong woman. So it's amazing. Kudos to you. So we're going to go quickly now, just for a few minutes, through the speed round. Okay. Just a little fun way that we kind of wrap this up, so that just to kind of share some fun things about you. So I'll start with that one. What's a fun fact about you that people might not know?
That I still dance in front of the mirror to relieve stress, and I drop everything that I'm doing and I go in front of the mirror and start dancing whatever way I want to do.
Yeah, and again, it grounded centers you, right? And then you're able to go and do what you need to do. I love it. Are you watching binging any TV shows? And if yes, no.
I don't watch TV.
Okay, no, please. Good for you. But I love that answer. That's the best answer, in my opinion. Do you have a dream vacation destination?
It has always been the Maldives, the Maldives Islands. But I have to say, since I've been to the Caribbean, if I had to just be like between North America, Central America, South America, I would be totally happy. I don't need to go to Italy. I don't need to go to France. I am totally happy going from the United States to the Caribbean, to those like Colombia, and my country. I'm happy.
Very nice. Very nice. Your superpower is?
Coming back from the ashes.
Nice.
I came back from the ashes many times in my life, like when there was nothing else left, and I'm like, I'm going to rebuild this.
Amazing. Amazing. Most grateful for?
Life in general. I could have said my daughter, but she's life too, so she's included on that.
Including all of it. Yeah.
Yes.
It all comes down to blank.
Wow, that is a powerful one. It all comes down to like your center, like everything starts from there and it ends there too. So it's just like this nice exchange that you have. It begins here, like the solar plexus, and then it comes back to you so you can digest everything and move on.
Nice. Regrouping, right, all the time. Yep. Success is?
Freedom. Freedom, like in my case, a success is geographical freedom. I really want to be able to reach as many lives as possible with my work and using technology, and being able to be in different places, and reach as many people as I can. So that's my definition of success. Just be free from geography, going all over, doing what you love.
Making an impact all over, and very nice. Relationships are?
They are the foundation for everything you want to build.
Yeah. Yep. Sisterhood is
the greatest support system a woman can have. Yeah.
Love
and
it.
I know this for a fact.
Me too. It's the best thing when women cheering each other on. There's no stopping us. All right, just a couple more. An exceptional day contains
love, laugh, and dance.
Beautiful. Perfect. Okay, 2 last questions. So, you're a part of the tribe, and so I always ask people, because it's different for everybody, what does it mean to you to be ageless? You kind of touched on it earlier, but when you hear the term ageless, what does it mean to you?
It means that whatever age I reach, I will always be true to my essence. And obviously, years will add to your maturity, to the way that you feel certain things, to the way that you will react to other things.
Mm-hmm.
But your essence, I don't think it will ever change. And that's what is important for people to see. So you have to be vulnerable enough to show it,
Mm-hmm.
because I can go back to my country now and see a childhood friend, and if I am able to show my true essence, we all gonna say, wow, you haven't changed anything. Right? How many people we meet in life that we say this, right?
It's so true. That's how the Ageless Goddess Vibe Tribe started. Exactly from that, from my childhood friends. So I love that you said that. So then just for final question to, when you hear, Ageless Goddess, like what does that mean to you when you hear the term you're an Ageless Goddess?
Women that are on a mission to not only support themselves, but to keep themselves, guard each other's essence, and keep showing that essence to the world. And you only do this when you can be vulnerable, like I just said.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have an amazing support system, and if you feel comfortable in your sisterhood, this is just going to blossom. So that's what it means to me.
Love it. That's beautiful. So tell us how people can get in touch with you if they'd like to learn more about maybe work, some virtual classes and stuff like that, and where to find you, and anything else that I left out that you wanted to share.
You can just punch on Google W Rhythm, because my name begins with W. So W Rhythm Fitness. And if you want to like Kent, Connecticut, or W Rhythm Fitness Connecticut, you will find me there. And through my website, you can send me a message. There's the phone there. So I'm available. I'm available for any questions, and to really infuse some vitality in everyone's lives.
I love it. I love it. So ladies, yeah, if you're watching, please definitely check out W Rhythm Fitness. And Vanessa, I want to thank you so much for being here, from my heart to your heart, for sharing all that wisdom. And I loved learning about your story. I'm telling you, every time I do one of these, I find out things about these fabulous women who have these amazing life experiences. And that's what this is all about, sharing. So I thank you and appreciate
Thank you so much, Liz. Thank you so much. From my heart to your heart too.
Okay. Thank you so much. Until next time, everybody, we'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us. And we are